Parents in Germany attach great importance to sports in their children's education, whether it's baby swimming courses, playful crawling for toddlers, gymnastics for children, or recreational sports in schools. Doing sports at every age seems to be considered a part and parcel of good education in Germany. I'm your host Paras Mehta, and this week on India to Germany, we speak with James Brennan, Deputy Head of the International Montessori School Berlin. James has more than 20 years of experience in education and sports coaching and has worked in different schools and organizations all over the world. Welcome, James. Thank you for speaking with us.
Yeah, thank you, Paris, for having me back.
So James, we already spoke in one of the previous episodes of this podcast where we spoke about the Montessori school education in Germany. And today we are here talking about another very important topic, the role of sports in education in Germany. So could you tell us a little bit about your experience with sports education and coaching?
For sure, yeah. In general, I've been coaching sport in various educational settings for around 20 years. I've worked in America, Australia, England, and Germany. Both in schools and outside of schools in sport clubs environments. I've taught and coached a wide variety of sports, including football, rugby, basketball, cricket, tennis, hockey, and swimming. I also have a degree in sports science, so this is a subject I have lots of experience in.
That's great. So you also taught cricket, I heard.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's popular in India.
Yeah. That used to be my favorite sport back in school, and I haven't played it for a few years now, but at least I used to enjoy it a lot back then.
Yeah, nice. When I was in Australia likes cricket a lot too, so we played a lot in Australia.
That's nice. Yeah. So you have a lot of experience in a range of different sports, and you've also worked in different schools and organizations for a long time in different countries. How would you describe the role of sports for children and teenagers in Germany? And how would you compare this with other countries where you've worked?
Yeah, I would say in Germany, the roles of sport and healthy outdoor lifestyle in general is very important for both young children and teenagers. Most German families, they try to go outside at least once a day. Even in the wintertime, they dress up warm and go outside. There are many playgrounds and bicycle paths which can be used for free, as well as inexpensive sport facilities such as swimming pools, both indoor and outdoor in the summer. They have outdoor pools. And children as young as 3 can start to learn to ride a push bike with no pedals. And most of the children can ride a bike with pedals by the age of 5 or 6, so the children are quite active outside. Most families also start with baby swimming courses, and there's lots of gymnastic movement classes for toddlers as well. I would say within the school setting, the majority of German schools, they have a good physical education program. It's approximately 3 hours a week of lessons. And they also have after-school clubs and activities, which the students can attend in addition to their normal lessons. However, I would say the main competitive sport, that happens mostly at the weekends and evenings at sports clubs. These sports clubs, the young children and teenagers, they can receive specialized coaching by trained coaches in the different sports, such as cricket or basketball. Mainly the role of the school is to provide an introduction to the basics of many sports, and then the children and parents can decide to become a member of their chosen sports club if they like.
Okay.
I would say in comparison to a country like America, where in America perhaps the school teams play other school teams in highly competitive leagues and schedule games every year. In Germany, the schools might play in small, minor competitions from time to time, but this is not the main emphasis of the school program. It's more to give the children a general flavor of different sports that they can try out at the different clubs.
Okay, so here school teams don't play with other school teams. This is not very common.
Not so common. They do sometimes in small little tournaments just for like one day, but not in a big league and there's like a winner and loser of the league every year and it's posted in the newspaper and things like this. No, it's not like that.
Oh, okay. And then, so you mentioned that the main purpose of the school of them that the schools try to help kids orient and try out a range of different sports, and then they choose for themselves which ones they like. And then the actual sports training usually happens outside of the school in these sports clubs.
For sure, yeah.
Okay. And so what are these clubs about? What are the different opportunities there?
Yeah, there are many different sport clubs in Germany, and in Berlin, where I live in particular, it's really good. Yeah, they range from traditional sports such as football and hockey to newer sports such as touch rugby, ultimate frisbee, rock climbing. Yeah, most of these clubs offer age-appropriate groups. For example, say children under 6 are in one group, children under 8 in another, children under 10 in another. And then they can have expert coaching, and they can also take part in organised matches against other clubs at the same age level. So the 6-year-olds play against other 6-year-olds, which is good. I'd say the best thing to do if people are interested is you can just go to a club's website, and normally there's a contact for the youth coordinator, and then they'll help organise all the different children's things. Most of the clubs, they also offer a 3 to 4 week trial. You can try out a sport first if you like, and then become a member afterwards.
Okay, it sounds very good. So there is a range of different options available to parents who want to maybe send their children to one of these clubs.
Yeah, definitely. You can try 1 or 2 different clubs, see which one your child's like, and then if they like it, then you can join afterwards. Yeah.
Okay. And what role does sport play in the school day in Germany? What is taught there, and what is the goal of that?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I'd say in general, sport plays a fairly important role in the school day. However, one could argue that it could play an even more important role. As I mentioned before, the sport lessons take place around 3 hours a week, but not every day, which some experts recommend the children need sport every day. Some new progressive schools are beginning to introduce yoga and meditation on a daily basis for the students. So this is a way they can have some exercise each day. I would say some of the main things that are taught in all German schools, for instance, are swimming lessons. They're compulsory for all the year 3 students. So those are 9-year-old students, and they have swimming lessons for the whole school year. This is very good. So then at least all the students have a basic swimming level. Another thing that's quite good in Berlin as well, in year 4, the students all take a bike riding license course. So they can safely ride their bike around the streets and the bicycle paths. So this is also good for the children's independence. They can go out without the parents on their bikes.
So this bike riding license is it? I didn't know that one needs a license to ride a bike in Germany.
Yeah, it's quite a German thing. It's a bit like having a car license for an adult. The children have a little badge, and it says they've done their safety rules of the road, so they know the traffic lights and the different stops, and that they know how to turn and signal. And yeah, it's just a really good way for the children to be safe, but also the parents know my child could go out by themselves on their bike and know what to do. It's a really nice idea. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I would, and then lastly, I'd say the most kind of renowned thing is a special event in Germany for children from age 8 to 19. It's called the Federal Youth Games. In German, it's called the Bundesjugendspiele. Basically, historically, this was connected with the Nazis, their propaganda to train the German youth to get everybody fit. Although its origins might be a bit controversial, nowadays they've revised the concept. So basically, there are 9 individual competitions in the disciplines of gymnastics, athletics, and swimming each year. And the children can compete in each discipline. But what's really good is rather than competing directly against other children for like first, second, third place and medals, etc., the students are given individual points for each discipline. And basically, they try and better their score from each year to the next year. So it can be used as a form of goal setting or personal so everyone can take part and try and be fitter or stronger for next year. And there's no real winners and losers like first place and last place. If a school, which I do at my school, if you give the certificates out just individually to the children during the class time, rather than at a big award ceremony or an assembly, say these were the best three, then it can be used in a nice way to motivate each child for next year to do better.
Okay. And so all kids between the age of 8 and 19 take part in these federal youth games.
Yeah, these events, yeah, and you can track your own score on the computer, and then you can make a little graph to see how you improved each year. So it's a nice feedback for the children to see how they're doing. Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned that at the moment that in schools there are sports for 3 hours every week, but some people say that it should be maybe every hour, it should be every day. So how is it like in your school at the International Montessori School in Berlin?
Yeah.
What role does sport and exercise play at your school?
Yeah, so at my school, obviously it's a Montessori school, so we always look at the whole learner, the whole child. So the sport and exercise is very important part of this, that they're healthy and happy. So what we do, as well as teaching cooperation and teamwork in my normal PE lessons, we run a number of after-school clubs, such as yoga, tennis, sailing, karate, these types of things. And we're also introducing a climbing section in our outdoor playground, and where the children can climb and use their bodies in this way. And we also take the children to a nearby forest for 2 hours a week. So they get a good mixture of kind of outdoor exercise and sports, which is good for them. And then we also do some breathing and simple meditation exercises. If a child's stressed in class or need a little bit more focus, we can bring them outside the classroom with our teachers' assistants and just do some simple breathing, and so they get to be able to control their body. I think this kind of overall picture, like we're not trying to make them Olympic champions, but just for the children to understand their body and to move each day and to balance, and these things are important.
Yeah, that's very good. So this meditation and yoga, for example, this is done depending on if maybe the child is a bit stressed. It's not something that's done, or is it something that's done every day at the moment?
We have yoga after school, so the children who like to sign up can go. We do that twice a week. And then the breathing exercises we teach all the children in class, and then we do just in small groups outside in the corridor. If they need a quick calm down, then they know the way to breathe, and we do that with the teacher's assistants. So it works well in small groups like this.
Okay, great. I mean, we all know that doing sports and exercises and doing exercise is good for us, but specifically for children and youth, why is sports so important for them?
Yeah, for sure. For this age group, I would say there are a few main benefits. Playing sport gives children the chance to develop their physical skills and understand their own body, which is a very important phase of their development. For if they have control over their own mind and body, then it's easy for them to be happy and balanced, and then also to be nicer to other children too. Another thing would be through sport, they can learn how to be a team member and learn to play fairly with others. This is especially important. Often we have a lot of children from one-child families who don't get much time to practice this at home, so it's good for them to be in a team sport where they can learn these skills. Sport can also help them improve their self-esteem and confidence by giving them the chance to master new skills and abilities. And also sometimes they discover strengths they didn't know they had. So if they like to do rock climbing and they didn't realize they were very good at climbing, it's a really powerful, positive thing for the children. I'd say lastly, it gives them the chance to make new friends with similar interests, which is very nice. So they can talk about common things, and also obviously to have fun. These last two, we would maybe call them social benefits, are very important, especially today in our modern fast-paced society where the children are often long days at school and they get lots of homework at home. nice for them to have a positive experience of fun and connected with sport.
That's true. Yeah, it's a great way to make new friends. I can also imagine, yeah, it's very important for developing these social skills.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
perhaps you already mentioned a lot about not only that sports is not only good for the physical development, but it has a range of other benefits. So specifically, for example, for social skills, what do you think, what role does sport play in learning social skills?
Yeah, for sure. The social skills is a very important area, as you say. I believe maybe the main ones for social skills is that this shared group experience that children have when they become involved in a team sport. They need to do things such as communicating and supporting others, and this is in a positive way. And when they work cooperatively on a shared goal, this is a very good thing for young children to do, and something then they can then later do in society when they go to the workplace or they're working in different groups to work on shared goals. It's very good. Also, sport gives us scenarios whereby the children learn to deal with successes and failures. This is good for their self-development, so they can reflect, on both good and bad outcomes. How do they feel when they lose? How does it feel when you win? This helps them learn about themselves and also that other people have these experiences. Not everyone can win. Everyone fails a little bit in life. Sometimes you lose, but it's more how you react to this and then develop your self strength and character. So this is very good that sport gives children the chance for this. I'd say lastly, what I really like about sport too, it helps children have goals, so they can set themselves goals, and often with it in a time frame. So it can be to win a game or to train for the next week. So this is really good for the children to help them focus, and also gives them that kind of determination to succeed, which they'll need later in life. And yeah, if they can set goals and achieve them while they're young, then they can do the same behavior when they're older.
True, that's very true. I mean, in many different countries, including in Germany, nowadays there are these complaints that children are less and less active, and also particularly due to the increasing consumption of social media. What do you think? What kind of health effects can this have?
Yeah, that's a common question or complaint I hear a lot nowadays. I would say there's been lots of studies conducted into this area. From my reading about this topic, I'd say there's maybe two main points I hear consistently. Those would be that, in particular, children who spend more than 3 to 4 hours a day on social media, so it's quite a long time, more than twice as likely to suffer from poor mental health. This is due to the fact their immersion in the virtual world or so much screen time actually delays their emotional and social development, which they would otherwise have by interacting with humans and talking this way. And these effects can be even stronger on teenagers when they go through their adolescence, if they're quite isolated and their screen and their computer is their main source of friendship, or one could say, or their communication. They're missing this human touch of empathy and understanding. Then the other, also this sedentary lifestyle of children sitting indoors and not going outside, then obviously has a negative effect on their health, and some has weight issues. There are some obesity problems now with the younger generation. It's mainly due to not being outside and exercising as much as perhaps the children did of my generation or the generation before. Yeah, these are quite important issues. I'd say the good thing, sport can be a really great countermeasure to this, because not only does it physically get the children away from their phone and laptop, but it provides them with the chance to burn up calories and strengthen their growing muscles and minds. The sport is a really positive in this area. Yeah, in general, this exercise, the technology, social media consumption is a very important balance. And a very important area both children and I think parents especially need to be educated about. So I recommend people read more into this area if they're interested.
So it's very interesting that you mention That's the importance of sports, not only in physical development, but also in social development and also in this mental performance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I also remember reading about this, that but particularly for children and adolescents, learning improves, and the cognitive learning process improves if they are more active and they do exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Do you perhaps know something about this?
Yeah, this is an area I've studied in my degree, especially with adolescents. It's an important area. Basically, yeah, from the educational studies and articles, the main things they suggest that there are three ways that it affects their mental development. The first way that sport is really good, it optimizes a person's mindset, and that gives them positivity. So to improve, they've got a positive mind and they're more alert, their attention's better, and they're motivated to learn other things. So that's the first thing. Secondly, it actually prepares and encourages the nerve cells to bind with one another. So these cells connect more often, more frequently with each other. And this cellular basis is used for logging and storing new information and learning. So the better we can connect the cells together, the better our pathways are to learn. Thirdly, it also spurs the development of structural changes in the brain, in the front regions of the brain. And this is where our cognitive learning happens. So that's another benefit. So yeah, in layman's terms, to maybe make it more simple for people, yeah, exercise can do three main things. So it helps our mindset, improves our biological cells with their connection, and also our brain capacity to learn new things. So yeah, obviously this is really good for people's mental health, especially young children and adolescents, as these changes are happening to their bodies.
Great. So after hearing you talk about all the benefits of doing sports, maybe perhaps there are also parents who would like to find out which sport is the right one for their child, or are there any certain sports that are suitable for a certain age, or is there a type of sport which is well suited for beginners? Do you have some suggestions on this?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, this is a question I get asked a lot, actually, especially from the parents at my school. In general, I like to tell parents it's good for a child to be involved in both a team type of sport, such as basketball, hockey, or cricket, for example, and a more individual sport, such as swimming or athletics, something like this. This way, a child can have a balance about learning how to cooperate with others and also learn about their own individual body and self-development. So it's nice to have this two-way balance. I also recommend for, and I say 99% of the general population who aren't aiming for the Olympics, that before the age of around 12, it's important not to specialize too much in one particular sport. For example, playing tennis or doing gymnastics 6 days a week for 3 or 4 hours a day. This can often lead to burnout of a child and make them very stressed and actually demotivated and associate exercise as a negative. But it's better to let your child try out a range of sports, and importantly to see out which one they like best. For instance, a young child might like gymnastics for a while and then be curious to try dance classes or ballet, etc. Then they might want to switch back to gymnastics after a year or two. It's very good also to listen to your child's current interests, especially with younger children. These can change every few months, and not force them to do an activity just perhaps because you did it as a child yourself. Every generation is different. There's new activities they can do. So yeah, the main thing is to listen to what your child likes and also their current interests, to know it might not be forever, but for 5 or 6 weeks, it could be good to try something. Yeah, and the main thing is that they have fun, the children, and they associate sport and physical exercise as a positive thing. If they can do this when they're younger, it's much more likely when they're older that they'll lead a healthy lifestyle.
That's very good advice. Thank you, James.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to share my thoughts with you, Paris.
Thanks. That's all, folks. Remember to subscribe to our podcast and check out our blog on indiatogermany.com. See you in the next episode.